You've gotten this far in life and you're probably wondering, what is the point of all of it? What's the point of living? What the hell is the point of this life? Why do we exist? What are we? People walking around, making stuff, doing things? What is the point of it all? Why even try? Why bother? Why have relationships? Why build a business? Why have a family? Why does any of it matter? What is the real purpose of our very existence? I'll tell you. The purpose of our very existence is to realize that you are a conscious creator. You are the conscious creator. The whole point of all of this is for you to remember that you are, in fact, pure spirit, connected to everything and everyone else around you and this entire universe. Everything is one. Make any sense? Well, oneness. Oneness is what... Oh, you can barely see that. Can you see that? Oneness. That's kind of pale. Oneness. So picture this. Here's the fabric of the universe. That's you. That's me. That's my chair. That's my house. That's my husband. That's my daughter. My other daughter. There's a bunch of your family. It's all the big same soup. One big same soup. One big giant piece of fabric. Everything is connected. Everything. One big piece of plaid. We are just one big mess, all connected. And if you're wondering why this matters, well, there's a conscious connection because we are pure consciousness. Nothing is actually solid. If you actually look into what we are, everything just appears that way. That's the way we perceive it because of different vibrations. You know, everything is a different vibration when you look at water and ice and steam. Different vibrations. That's it. It's changed frequencies and thus changed forms that we perceive. And our existence, we have the ability to change our frequency and kind of change our form. But it's more like changing your frequency and choosing what kind of life you're going to live. So this big messy fabric that I just pointed out of what you are what you are connected to, what you are, giant creator consciousness, you know, you are God, however you want to say it, God, the universe, the all, you are it, experiencing itself in human form. Now, this oneness is really handy because everything that you put out comes right back to you. So if you don't like what you're getting, you got to change what you're giving. Does that make sense? Everything you do to someone else comes back to you. Because you are them and they are you and we are all together. So how this works with relationships with your loved ones, with your friends, with your family, with everyone, is that we often get annoyed with certain things about other people. Have you noticed that? You know, some people get together and be like, oh, so-and-so, they're so annoying when they do blah, blah, blah. And it's like, the things that you find annoying or boring about other people are the things you fail to see about yourself. And that's a tough reality to accept sometimes. I didn't like learning that. I still don't like it because I'm like, every time I notice something that I'm like, a little bit critical of somebody else, I'm like, I mean, so it's a handy tool once you're aware of it to notice that this is the person that you're like, oh, they're so annoying, they're so loud, they gossip, whatever. And then you realize right in that very moment that those might be qualities that you also possess, that you're failing to see. Because life is a mirror. Here's you over here with your big loud mouth gossiping away. Oh, snap. So, the oneness. You are them and they are you, and we are all together. It's important for you to recognize if you want to grow and you want to change and you want to become the best version of yourself, take these as really handy cues. Really handy cues. Every time that you're bothered by something, because one of the big questions I get from a lot of people is, how do I become less triggered? Well, triggers are there to help you. Triggers are there to help you grow. They show you where you have trapped energy. They show you where you're still hung up on something. They show you where you're still not forgiving somebody else or not forgiving yourself of something that was done wrong to you, about you, or that you did. So, anytime you notice yourself triggered, I wrote that really weird. This is your best friend. Yay. Because then you can look and see, okay, why does that still bother me? Why does it bother me at all? Maybe it's something you've never really looked at. Something that happened to you during childhood. Something that somebody else punished you for over and over and over. And now you feel the need to hate on other people that you see doing that thing. That's a thing. So thank your triggers. Thank people that point these out to you, because it is your job to look and see what is it that is being mirrored back to you. And you are reminded of a time where somebody did something that reminds you of this. Go back and forgive them. In your mind. You don't have to go and physically find somebody and say, I forgive you. You can do it with your heart. You can do it with your energy. You can spiritually, energetically forgive anyone you want at any time. What this does is it doesn't let them off the hook for what they did. You know, karma is karma, energy is energy. If they're just going to keep doing bad things, you know, what goes around comes around, just like we said. What you give out is what you get. But when you choose to forgive somebody or forgive yourself, it lets you off of their hook. So if you haven't forgiven yourself for something, you are on an energetic hook that you're going to keep punishing yourself for over and over. And that punishment is going to keep showing up in your life. Because that's what you keep giving out, is that energy to yourself. And the same for other people. If you are not forgiving somebody else for something horrible that they did, regardless of how horrendous the thing is, you are still on their energetic hook. You are connected. There is only oneness. You are very much connected. And we've kind of talked about this before with the energy of what you're giving out, even if it's anger, resentment, and blame. You know, the trifecta of suffering that I've talked about before. That energy, people and pendulums feed on. People feed on that. They love it. You know? So when you forgive somebody else and say, you know what? I forgive you. You are no longer feeding them that energy of anger, resentment, or blame. You cut the tie. You don't give them your energy anymore because you're connected. And as long as you decide that they did that to you, you are, you know, angry at them, you are giving them your energy. You're giving them, anger is flowing toward them. And if you don't want that, that's how you take that back. And if you don't want to send your energy to somebody else, you got to forgive. Because again, there is only oneness. Do you understand? So again, in relationships, if you're struggling to communicate with your loved ones and you're struggling to have good relationships with people or build new relationships, you got to look at what you're giving out. Because again, it always starts with you. I was guilty of this for a while when I was just like, well, you know, people are so mean. So-and-so said this and oh, they gossip about me. And then I had to take a really long, hard look at myself and be like, okay, what am I doing? Am I bringing this on myself? Am I acting like a victim, talking like a victim, and doing all the things that I say other people are doing? Yeah. Not something anybody wants to admit. Sorry, it's tough. But this is the only way to grow. You to take a long, hard look at yourself and in the mirror that is your life. Because if this is you, and that's what you think you look like, and this is your life, and it's just like, that's what's going on in your life, this is what's really going on in you. And sometimes it's hard to accept and see. So, the best way to conquer this is to start with self-love. And I actually mean, yeah, just loving yourself. Look in the mirror. Tell yourself, I love you. Believe it or not, I had some trouble doing this in the beginning. I actually broke down in tears so many times. I didn't know why. I couldn't look myself in the mirror and say, I love you. It felt awful. I felt so much anger, resentment, and blame for all the things that I'd done in my life that I didn't like. For all the things that I had said to people that I loved that I regretted. I blamed myself for so many things that happened. I felt terrible. Is this the way that you want to start your year? It's 2026 now. And everything can change for you. Everything. And you might think, well, that's a lot to change. And it's like, maybe so, but it can be really easy to begin. Begin with loving yourself and forgiving yourself. Because everything else around you will begin to change. You know, look in the mirror. See if you can say to yourself those loving words. So that you actually see that smile coming back to you. Your smile. If you can't love yourself, you're going to see the rest of the world through a really shitty lens. And you can say that you love other things and other people. Oh, I love everything. But it's surface level. And that's what surface level means. It means it's not coming from deep within you, because to come from deep within you, it has to be you. You are love. You are pure love. And if you're feeling spiritually or emotionally disconnected, it's because you're not feeling into what you are. You feel detached from what you are because you don't feel love. Are you following this? If you feel detached from love, it's because you feel, or detached from yourself, it's because you are detached from loving yourself, because you are love. If you want to truly connect with yourself and connect to anyone and everyone else, start with you and start with love. We've all heard those sayings, you know, when you smile at the world smiles back at you. It's not just talking about strangers on the street. It's talking about circumstances, scenarios, everything, you know, health, wealth, family, friends, everything. Your vibe attracts your tribe, but it's when you truly are smiling at the world and smiling at yourself, that's what is going to resonate back to you. That is what is going to mirror back to you, because there is only oneness. When I was a kid, we were taught that, you know, there's God and then there's us. And because all the things that we've been taught, and I don't know, nothing really made that much sense to me when I was a kid. I didn't like school. I didn't like what we were being taught. There were aspects of church that I really liked. I was brought up Roman Catholic, and there was the Bible stories that I thought were so cool. I was just like, wow, like some of this stuff really resonated with me. I was like, yeah, other stuff made no sense. You know, I realize now that it was the politics. Anytime politics get involved with something, they ruin it. And it was a control mechanism. And that's what that organized religion became, was a political control mechanism. When it comes down to real faith, you have to realize, really see, realize that we are not separate from God. We've been taught to fear God. Like we're this separate thing, like God and our children, and we're all brothers and sisters and everything, children of God. But we are children of God in the sense that we are literally all connected in one big spiritual soup. Nothing is not touching. Nothing is separate. We've been given this opportunity to have this life in this human form so that we have the ability to experience taste, touch, feeling, emotion, you know, physical connection with one another, the physical side of it. Because once this physical life is over, we are still all connected in the spiritual realm. You know, I think there's like 3 realms, you know, the conscious realm, spirit realm, and physical realm, or what we would call the physical realm. And when this life is over, you know, you still exist, just without this body. But you still exist. You are still pure consciousness. You are still pure spirit. You are still part of the all, no matter what. And it really makes me sad how often I talk to people that are, you know, and I was this person too, but we become so detached. And that's why that feeling of detachment feels so empty, is because it isn't true. You can never actually detach, but when you feel disconnected spiritually, that's when you feel the depression. That's when you feel loneliness. Because we're never actually alone. And that's why a lot of people, I think I just spit, sorry. That's why I've seen a lot of people that are physically alone, you know, in living in some wilderness place, but they are so spiritually connected to nature and the animals and things around them that they're not lonely. They don't feel alone. They're perfectly at peace. And then, contrary to that, you can have a person living in the middle of a huge, busy city in an apartment building with, you know, thousands of people, surrounded by human beings, and feel so alone. So alone. You can even be part of a big family. And in a house filled with people all around you all the time, and still feel so alone. I've felt that. It's the spiritual disconnection of not realizing how connected you really are. We're being taught to lose our faith. We've been taught to think that we are just this person making our way through this life on your own, but you are never actually on your own. You are never fully on your own. And when I was a kid, I really liked the stories of guardian angels and all the saints. I always thought that was really cool. And I've heard cool stories too about guardian angels helping. Like there was one story my dad told me about one of his buddies. I think he was like sweeping out his trailer, big metal like cattle hauler trailer. And I don't remember if it was like lightning that struck the trailer or if like a power line fell on it, but there was a huge power surge that hit the trailer, whether it was lightning or like or a power pole falling on it. But he should have just been fried. But he was thrown from that trailer with no harm. Like he was thrown from it before it actually hit. Now, I heard this story a long time ago when I was a teeny tiny little kid, so I might be paraphrasing or saying it wrong, but I very much remember how cool of a story that was. It's like, yeah, guardian angels are real. You're never alone. There are spirits all around you all the time. They're just, again, only oneness. Same soup. They're always there to help you. You just gotta ask. I mean, sometimes you don't even have to ask. They're just there. But if you want to ask, yeah, you can. It's amazing. I recently finished reading the book Autobiography of Yogi, and that was cool. If you haven't read that book, I strongly recommend it. Really cool stories about like these people that have achieved a higher consciousness and a state of being. They've changed their vibration and achieved such really cool abilities that anyone can do if you put the effort into it. And it's really awe-inspiring, you know. There was you know, I think there was the levitating saint. There was one that or two actually, that they never had to eat food. they literally sustained themselves with the ether that is all around us, the element of ether. They were taught, or they learned how to take that in as their energy, their total energy that they needed for to sustain their entire existence, their entire body, their life. It's just astounding to me. I just think it's so cool. So if you are someone right now that is at the point in your life where you feel like everything is not where you want it, you're depressed, you're maybe drinking every day, maybe you're doing drugs every day, maybe you're just lonely even though you're surrounded by friends, maybe you're working a job that you hate, maybe you feel like, oh my gosh, my life is almost over, because you see other adults in your life that reach 40, 50, 60 years old and their life is like over, and they're just like, oh, well, that was a good life, or they're really depressed, and you're like, man, I don't want that. You feel like you're going to be coming to retirement age, but you've still got another 25 years of so-called work that you hate, and you're just depressed because all you do is drink every day. If this is you, it's time to realize how connected you are and can be. Say, you're not alone, for starters. Most people, here's some inspirational words. Most people don't really start their life until age 40 or 50. We're all a bunch of stupid kids running around doing dumb things, figuring stuff out. Maybe it's time to do some reflecting. Learn. And then look ahead. Decide what you really want. This is a topic that's going to keep coming up in all my videos, of you deciding, what do you want? Because you won't get anything that you're not working towards. You just get whatever the wind blows your way. I always compare our lives to gardens. You get what you plant. You reap what you sow. If you don't know what you sow, then you get whatever you get. You get whatever the wind blows seeds, and then, if you get weeds, you get weeds. If you get something cool, great. But the odds are you're not going to get what you want if you don't know what you want. But here's a fun guarantee. If you know what you want, and you won't take no for an answer, and you work towards it, you're guaranteed to get it. If what you want is true and honest, and you work towards it, you will get it. Because this magnificent oneness is actually a power that you possess. So when I mentioned before that we were taught as kids that God is this thing and we're over here, when in fact we are one and the same. You are God. You are God experiencing itself in human form. That's why you were created, so that God could experience what you're experiencing. And they're like, well, why is there so much evil? Because there is no good without evil. It's just a long line of one spectrum. There is no dark without light. There is no good without bad. If you consider good and bad, it's just a matter of if something is what you want or not. And that can be considered what is good or bad. So there is no good or bad. It's just what serves you and what doesn't serve you. So I ask you right now, your life, if you think it's bad, maybe it's just not serving you anymore. And it's okay to change. It's not bad. You don't have to feel bad about it. You don't have to feel bad about yourself. You're just not serving yourself anymore. Maybe you've been serving someone else's dreams. Maybe you've been working for somebody else's dreams. Maybe you're working for somebody else and it's not working for you. Maybe it's time to work for you. That's okay. So, here's a quick, fun side story with the whole oneness. I feel like I should put this on a totally different video, but with the oneness and the fact that you are God experiencing itself in human form, that means that you have the same divine creative powers as God. And some people are like, blasphemy! You don't have any powers. Only God, the Creator, has the powers. It's like, well, yes, God, the Creator, it's just energy. It's consciousness. This consciousness you are a part of. This consciousness, this spirit you are a part of. So instead of going through the rest of your life feeling disconnected, lonely, take some time to start to really get in touch with yourself. And when I say yourself, I mean God. God, yourself, same kind of thing. Have you ever had like intuition. That's source energy. That's God. That's the all. Have you ever had just answers come to you? That's source energy. That's the all. That's you. That's God. You have the power to create anything you want in your world. Anything you want. The stars can align. But you got to know what you want. So what do you want? Write it down right now. Grab a pen, grab a paper, and start writing. What do you want? What do you want for family, for work, relationships, money, home? What do you want? Where do you want to live? What do you want to do? What do you want to create? It's so good to get clear on these things, because if you don't, you just wake up and you just drift through your days. And so remember how we talked about there is no light without the dark, and you are God experiencing itself, so you have this divine energy. Well, there are what you could call opposing energies that just love to get their little suckers on your energy. So that opposing energy, what some might call the devil, loves it when people just start to drift through life. 98% of people are or will stay drifting throughout their entire life for the rest of their life. I still find myself getting caught up every now and then with something, and I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't what I want to be doing. And you get your priorities straight, you write down again what you want to do, and then you start working towards what you want again. Get clear, get direction. Because when you make a definite plan and you have definiteness of, did I say that right? Definiteness of purpose, that's when energy starts to put things into motion for you. That's when things really start to align. This oneness is always rooting for you. Always rooting for you. Always helping you. And that's the other thing that we talked about. Good versus bad. There is no good or bad. I like the story of the man in the village, Chinese village, and his son falls and breaks his leg. Falls off a horse and breaks his leg. And everyone in the village says, oh, how bad. Oh, how tragic. What terrible news. And the man says, well, is it though? And the next day, the Chinese army came and recruited all the young men for battle, but not that man's son. So is it bad? Things may seem bad in the moment, but in the bigger picture, if you take a chance to zoom out, you might see that, these things were necessary for them to happen. That boy who did not go to battle, he's alive and well, and maybe he had a greater purpose, a bigger purpose, something that he needed to do. And for him to not be recruited, he needed to break his leg. That's kind of your life right now. Maybe you needed to fall on your ass a few times to teach you some things. Maybe you needed to grow up for so many years, but it's just perspective. Maybe you needed to do all those things to get you here. I wondered why I had to suffer with bipolar symptoms for a couple decades. It was absolutely a nightmare. But now I know how to help other people heal from that completely. Despite doctors' prognosis of everybody being, genetic or permanent or whatever they say, it's not true. You can completely heal from that. But I wouldn't know how had I not gone through it. So what is it that you've gone through in your life that maybe you can learn a lesson from? Maybe it's put you in a different direction. It's led you here, and that's pretty amazing. Maybe you're just at the point in your life where you're like, that's it. I just want to be spiritually connected. I want to learn to live and get what I want all the time. And what you want is peace and happiness. Like most people. Peace, happiness, security, financial security. That's the other thing. Again, oneness. You get what you give. If you find yourself lonely, go give somebody else some attention. If you feel like money is not flowing through you, make a kind financial gesture to somebody else. If you feel like you're always running out of food, and, you know, make your lunch and invite someone else to come eat with you. It sounds counterintuitive, but this is the way the world works. It's oneness. You get exactly what you give. And you gotta have faith in that. Because if you do everything out of fear, you're just attracting more reasons to be afraid. Fear is the opposite of faith, but oneness, you get what you give. Everything comes back to you. Everything. Everything is mirrored back to you. Everything comes back to you. Everything gets multiplied and comes right back your way. So if you don't like what's going on in your life, you got to start changing the way you connect inside yourself. Connect with God. Connect with faith. Maybe journal on it for a little bit. See what happens. You never know. And the more you let it out, the more you can make room or make peace to hear higher thoughts. Because you have that ability. You absolutely do. You don't have to be some spiritual guru. You don't have to go, you know, light some candles or wave some incense. You don't have to. Walking in the forest is nice. That's some good vibes, but you don't have to. You can just go sit on the floor of your living room. Write down everything out of your head and then just clear your mind. Or don't. Allow all the thoughts to come. Allow them to come and allow them to pass. See them for what they are. And let them happen. Oneness. Everything in the world is mirrored back to you. All great grand forces that is divine creation is you right now. You are it and it is you. You are it experiencing itself in human form so that it can know what it's like to be angry, be happy, be sad, be remorseful, be empathetic, be in love, you know, to touch, to taste. That's why you're existing, so that these sensations can be experienced. And it's up to you to choose whether you want to experience the good stuff or what we perceive as not good. It's up to you if you want to experience happiness and joy, or if you want to keep living in a pit of anger, sadness, resentment, blame. You do have those choices. Forgiveness is always your choice. And again, it does not let them off the hook for what they did. What they did is what they did. It is what it is. It lets you off of their energetic hook so that you stop feeding that thing, that event, that person, that energy. It is for you. Forgiveness is a selfish act to allow you to move on, to allow you freedom, to allow you to take back your power. Because we're all connected in oneness. So if you want to be free of other people's energy sucks, forgive. Forgive, forgive, forgive. That's it. Parents, friends, criminals, forgive. That's it. And yeah, enjoy your journey to realizing your conscious creator abilities. Because you are so powerful, you are amazing, and you can do anything that you want to as long as it comes from the heart. See you on the next video.